You are playing the game wrong. How about that statement? Yeah, sorry if I offended you, but I think that if you don't stop doing what you usually do in games, either rushing through them as quickly as possible or setting a goal to complete the game perfectly by eluding every corner to avoid missing a single detail, or in other words, if you don't stop chasing maximum immersion in the game or trying to enjoy playing it like you did as a kid, then you won't feel any emotions from games. No matter what you do, games will just seem boring. Now, if you think I'm about to tell you that games are a waste of time and you should focus on something else, no, I'm not going to preach that nonsense, trust me. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to share a method that helped me finally play and enjoy games just like I did when I was a kid. If you're an ordinary worker with a 9-to-5 job like me, or just someone who can't figure out why games have become boring for you, I think I can help, because I've been through it myself. And now, let's get started. I think the first thing you should pay attention to is stopping yourself from being a perfectionist in the game you're playing. What does that mean? You probably know what perfectionism is. It's the belief that perfection can and must be achieved, and that an imperfect result has no right to exist. The same applies to games. You know how I used to play? Whenever I completed one task, I'd never leave anything unfinished in the location. I'd loot every spot, making sure I didn't miss anything valuable. If something required breaking into, I'd spend hours watching YouTubers to figure out how to crack it and get something that seemed important. I also tried to complete every quest 100%, and if I failed to do so, I'd replay and Google how to achieve 100% completion for some reason. Now let's compare that condition to how we felt as kids. Back then, I didn't have YouTube guides or anything like that. If I couldn't figure something out, I tried every possible way until I succeeded. And I did, eventually, no matter what. For example, as you probably know, in the game Hitman, missions always allow you to complete them in various ways. You can play loudly or stealthily, depending on the mission. But there were moments when stealth was unbearable. As a kid, when I encountered such moments, I'd switch to full-blown chaos mode just to get through it, even if it wasn't perfect. Now though, if I get caught, I restart the mission to play like Agent 47, the perfect stealth master, you know? Sure, it earns some achievement percentage, but it takes away the fun of the game. As a kid, I didn't even know what loot was. I just played the game, and if I happened to see something, I'd pick it up. That made the final missions more challenging, but it was still interesting. I never felt like I was missing something important. Therefore, one of the main minor problems is perfectionism, and you need to get rid of it. But anyway, maybe perfectionism isn't a problem for everyone. One of the most common issues is playing games based on others' recommendations or chasing whatever is popular right now. A lot of people go down that path, but honestly, you should aim to be someone who doesn't just rush to play as many games as possible, but finds one that brings you so much joy that you'd be willing to play it forever. Sure, advice from friends and high user ratings are great. Definitely give such a game a try. Play for about 2 hours. That's a good average time to see if a game hooks you. If it doesn't grab your attention in those 2 hours, delete it and go back to your favorite game. Because if a game doesn't interest you within that time, it probably never will. The game will just feel like a chore, and you'll push through it only because a friend recommended it or because someone said everyone needs to play this game. And finally, understand this. Not every game has to appeal to you. Everyone has their own tastes and standards. And if you don't enjoy a masterpiece, that's okay. Don't blame yourself for not liking a game. For example, let me be honest here. CD Projekt game have never appealed to me, like The Witcher or Cyberpunk. Yeah, many people will definitely criticize me for this, but honestly, I played them for a long time and felt no enjoyment. For some reason, they just weren't interesting to me. So I saw no point in wasting energy on a game I didn't like, even if it's considered a masterpiece. I just uninstalled them, though they're still sitting in my Steam library. On the other hand, I've always enjoyed Sony's game despite their massive popularity, so I've stuck to their titles whenever I wanted to play story-driven games. If I wanted something to keep me hooked for months, I'd play strategy games where you build bases, create units, and attack enemy bases like Stronghold, Age of Empires, and so on. I could spend hours in those games without getting bored. So I think games should be chosen based solely on what you enjoy. As I mentioned earlier, if you're new and haven't tried much, give each genre 2 hours. If it doesn't hook you, forget it. If it does, play it. That's simple. But what if no genre, no old game, or no new game hooks you? What do you do then? And how do you deal with it? If neither old games, new games, nor other genres captivate or interest you, even though as a child you could enjoy any game and find it fun, then the problem likely isn't with disliking a specific genre or type of game. I think, and although it might seem obvious, it's an anxious state of mind where not just games, but even ordinary tasks become hard to focus on. For example, you're playing a game and suddenly thoughts creep in. What I'm doing? Why am I wasting time on this game? Why am I not doing something productive? These thoughts prevent you from fully enjoying the game and make it hard to immerse yourself. Here's some advice that might help. I experience this every single day, and believe me, it works incredibly well. Get ready though, because it might sound strange. In this state, take a piece of paper or open the notes on your phone and write down all the tasks that are worrying you. This could be work, studying, exams, exercise, cleaning, or anything else. The next step is to divide these tasks into two categories. It's tasks you can finish today and tasks you can't finish today but can complete over time. Once you've written everything down, take the tasks you can finish today and schedule them throughout the day, and complete them so they stop weighing on your mind. As for the tasks you'll finish later, schedule them on future days at times that suit you best. This way you'll have a clear plan to follow and you won't have to stress about these tasks. Now, what about gaming? You need to understand that gaming isn't a task, so leave it off the list entirely. Arrange things so that you play when you want to, not at a fixed time. You can say out loud to yourself, I'll only play once I've finished all my tasks for today. The quicker I complete my tasks, the more time I'll have for gaming. Using this method, you won't feel anxious while playing. You'll be able to play until you naturally feel like stopping, whether to scroll through social media, watch a movie, or do something else fun. The most interesting part, do you know how this works from a psychological perspective? There's a psychological phenomenon called the Zeigarnik effect. It's the idea that people tend to remember unfinished tasks better than completed ones. So as soon as you start playing a game, your brain will keep reminding you about the tasks you haven't finished. These reminders occur subconsciously and at certain times. It's a bit like phone notifications. You've probably experienced how they distract you, without you realizing it, pulling you out of a flow state, right? The same thing happens to me when I'm writing a script or editing a video. That's why I always set my phone to do not disturb or turn off all notifications while working. But here's the catch. You can't turn off these notifications in your brain because we don't have direct access to it. But by following the steps I mentioned earlier, you essentially trick your brain into thinking the tasks are completed or at least under control. This convinces it to stop reminding you about them. Additionally, when you play games during your free time after completing your main tasks, it sends a signal to your brain that you are rewarding yourself for accomplishing something. This stimulates the release of more happiness hormones while you are gaming, making the experience more enjoyable. Now, why did this work so well when we were kids? It's simple. Back then, we didn't have any responsibilities more important than homework or playing games. Sure, sometimes adults would prioritize homework over gaming, but once it was done, there were no other pressing concerns. Games often felt like the main tasks of the day, something you had to do right then and there. This made your brain highly motivated to beat missions, complete games, and simply enjoy childhood. That's why games from our childhood seem so much more exciting and vibrant. Every chapter felt like an incredible adventure. These experiences will always stay in our memories, but now we need to live in the present and enjoy games not like we did as kids, but as we do now. I won't say as an adult because deep down every person is still a child, pretending to act like an adult. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and take care of yourselves.